Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another layout update for you here. Not a lot of lead up into this video. Got a few things accomplished with the backdrop, as well as placing some buildings and scenery, specifically some of the trees that my dad was making up for me to put on the layout. So going to keep this short, going to be a really quick update. I did also wire up a toggle switch so that I can switch between my DC and my DCC equipment. So that's exciting. I'm going to jump you over onto the tripod and we're going to have a look. I'll walk you through everything I've done. Thanks again for tuning in and subscribing. If you like to share that or subscribe, just hit that red button. And thanks very much for following along. Appreciate it, guys. Okay, guys, so here's a quick shot of the current command station. I need to find a home for my DC power pack, but that's the toggle switch I put in. I'm working on making up some labels for DC, DCC, and then the center is actually the off, so it's a double pole, double throw switch. And that just allows me to toggle back and forth between my DC and my DCC power. As a caveat to that, this is great to have. Just do not leave your DC locomotives on when you have your DCC on. It can cause lots of problems, and it's not worth the damage. So just make sure you've switched over all of your locomotive power, unless you have an isolated piece of track where you can store the DCC or the DC locomotive while you're running your DC locomotive. But just something to be mindful of. Very simple installation. It is block wired, so it just goes in before the block, and the block was done not only because originally it was DC, but also for troubleshooting. It makes it a whole lot easier. If I have a problem on my track, I can isolate the blocks and figure out pretty quickly where my problem is. So here we see some of the work I've done on the scenery. Very pleased with those trees. These trees were handmade by my father, and very pleased with how they've come up. I think they look fantastic. Again, the going to be transitioning more trees through here. The backdrop I've really just roughed in sort of where I want it. Again, we're sort of in big sky country here. Not a lot of topography to speak of, so I wanted to keep it low into the ground. And then I experimented with a few different processes for doing clouds. I didn't want anything too defined, more of the wispy, it just kind of blends. I didn't want to transition too much of the appeal up to the clouds and away from the layout. So keeping the focus on the layout. That corner, I've got some definite work to do. Coming along, here's some more of the trees. And then this is actually where I did stitch and paint in the backdrop. And I will do the same at this location here. I'll stitch in some color in the background just to fill it out, make it appear as more brush and bush. Now I got to come in and super detail these areas with the trees, with some some foliage on the ground, as well as some lower bushes, just things to tie it in. So that's currently where we stand. Haven't done too much else as far as flocking. Obviously I want to get my ballast done on this side. Sort of I'm working from basically this corner over to the section representing Fargo. So want to continue the work on this, continue stitching everything in. And then I need to get some buildings just to finish the scenicing side of it before I get into too much more detail. But definitely ballast is first. Fill in some more of the trees. Obviously finish that building. Lots of things to go on the list. I'm almost to the point where I'm going to be comfortable to start thinking about pouring both my pond and both ditches. So as you can see, I've painted in that ditch as well. So that's going to represent a fairly large ditch. I do need to get some culverts or make some culverts for both the track as well as the the road crossing. But it's definitely coming along. So I want to thank everybody for following and subscribing. It's a big help. It's a big boost. It's really awesome to see the comments. The community is fantastic. And to those of you who have your own YouTube channel that I follow, Tom, I'm looking at you. Big Mr. D there down, I believe it's New Zealand. Anyways, fantastic stuff. I really look forward to those videos because it really helps motivate me to get on here and produce some content and make some progress on the layout. So very excited for that. Thank you so much. And also a big shout out to my dad. Great job on the trees. He started to now post up on the Canadian Model Railroaders Facebook group, which is awesome to see him finally sharing his work. He's been doing it for a lot of years, and it's great to see him finally throwing some pictures up. And really, he's sort of caught a second wind in the hobby. He's really been doing some awesome work to take his layout to the next step. So once this whole COVID nightmare bullshit is done, I will get down to his place and we will get a proper video of his layout filmed, just to showcase what he's done, the work he's doing, and some of the awesome setups that he has as well. So look forward to that. Look forward to a whole lot this year. I really want to drive to have a vast majority of my scenic, I want to call it base layer down by the end of this year. So stay tuned for a big year. Lots of things. If there's any questions for anything related to how any of these effects were achieved, feel free to ask. Drop them down below. I'd be happy to share. I will go in and clean up that backdrop a bit, stitch it in a little better, but very pleased so far with how it's coming up. So thanks a lot for tuning in, guys, and we will catch up with you soon.